tapping? I'm tapping and I'm bouncing my feet.
Because outside of IT, I'm a drummer.
I was going to talk about that tonight when you was talking about you was being a musician since you was 8. I was like, you go sounding unemployed.
I said, outside of me being IT, I'm IT now. Have a degree in network engineering, but...
Well, you didn't lead with that before. You used to lead with, I'm a musician. That nigga ain't got no job.
Yeah, you may want to stop the recording right now.
No, it'd be us. I mean,
Yeah, but I didn't think you would use that. Let's start over.
hey, everybody. Hello, everybody. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Thank you for joining us. Come on in, everybody. Thank you for joining us on the live this evening. Come on in. Today, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, please share the live. Say closed mouths don't get fed, so please share. Tag somebody and share it. Thank you for joining us. Come on in. Thank you for coming on in. Thank you for joining with us. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day.
Yeah.
Here. The devil is not welcome
Yeah.
here.
Shout out to Bad Boys.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get started. We're just trying to give a few seconds for people to be able to join the line, and we're going to get started for joining the live, and then we'll get started. So thank you so much for being here with us today. Please share. Please like and share. Please like and share. If you find it not difficult, please like and share. Thank you so much. Now what?
What difficult?
Some people don't want to share your stuff.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the ability to share.
No.
Not the willingness.
No, I'm talking about willingness. It's difficult to share because some people don't want to share your stuff because it's you. You're like, I ain't sharing their stuff. You got some people that love us and they will share. And you got some people like, fuck them. I ain't sharing nothing of theirs. And God bless you anyway. God bless you anyway. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. I am Minister Tarina McKinnon, and
I am Will McKinnon.
And together we are
The McKinnon's.
The McKinnon's. Thank you for joining us. Listen, people. God put on my heart to do this probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Me and my husband have been talking about doing this for quite some time, for quite a while, and life happens, things happen, jobs happen, grandbabies happen, everything happens, and it just got to a point to where we really couldn't dedicate the time to it that we needed to in order to be able to do this. But now God said now is the time. So we're stepping out to be obedient to God with what he told us to do. So what he told us to do was to actually do these lives, to actually talk to you guys, to talk to people who are married, to talk to people who want to be married, talk to people who are getting ready to be married, talk to people who have a desire to have a strong, meaningful relationship with someone, how to strengthen the relationship that you already have, how to rebuild it, how to come together, you know, and to use what God has blessed us to have by the grace of God, what God has blessed us to have, to be able to help you guys, to be able to help everyone. And when I say that, I'm not saying that like we are above anyone, but I am saying that God has blessed us to have a genuinely happy and healthy marriage with each other. And so we want to use that to be able to bless other marriages, to bless other couples, to bless single people who want to be married, so that you have a different mindset or maybe a different outlook when you look at marriage, because it's a lot of people who have a bad connotation when it comes to marriage and think that there is no such thing as a happy marriage. And once you reach, you know, a certain point, you know, that there is no more love or satisfaction in your marriage, and that's just not true. So we wanted to take this time to come out and actually speak to you guys. And again, thank you for joining us, because out of all the places you could be, you don't have to be sitting here watching and listening to us. So we do appreciate you for that. So I wanted to start with the very first question that we always get asked. The first question we always get asked is, how did you guys meet? So we want to start at the beginning and tell you guys how we meet, how we, you know, actually got to this point. And every week we will be doing these videos, these lives, so that you guys can join us. And if you have questions, please DM me. We are open books. We are willing to share. We're going to talk about real stuff, get down to the nitty gritty. We're not sugarcoating nothing. So if you're easily offended, this is not the live for you. If you don't want to talk about sex and you're so religious that you are the Virgin Mary and never been touched by nobody and you can't talk about it, this is not the live for you, because this this is not live demonstrations. No. We will not be doing live demonstrations. But if you don't want to talk about sex because, oh my gosh, that's so taboo, I can't talk about that, this is not the live for you, because we're talking about real stuff. We're talking about real things that happen in marriages and couples and stuff like that. So if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, you want to talk about some real stuff, real things, real fun, real issues, then this is where you want to be. So the first question, like I said, is people always ask us, how did we meet?
We actually met when I was in the Navy in Mayport, Florida. And 1991 is when we met, because I just had a car accident and I broke my hip, ankle, fractured my gum line, and my barracks mate, Demetrius, he was with me, and he was in the car accident as well. I was pretty much immobile, and he was, like he would go to the mall and things like that, and so he actually met your cousin, and they were an item, and she mentioned to you that he's got a roommate. And so we met. I don't remember exactly what that day was, but you had just turned 16.
I did. I was 16.
I was 19. I wasn't 20 yet. I wasn't 20 yet.
Because Kim.
I wasn't no cradle robber, pedophilia, and all that other stuff, man.
Kim always says you were pedophile because you were 19 and I was 16. But I was 16, he was 19.
I did woo her with some chocolate, though.
No. His roommate was actually dating my cousin. And so one day she asked me, would I go to the military base with her out in Mayport to go and see her dude or whatever. I didn't know he was there. And so I was just accompanying her to go see her dude for a few minutes or whatever. And when I got there, he came to the door, and I actually thought he was who she was seeing, and he wasn't, of course, because she asked for Demetrius or whatever. And so they ended up introducing us, and We dated for a while, but y'all remember back in 1991, they didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cell phones. We had landlines, or you had a beeper.
Right.
That was it. And so we didn't have...
I had a beeper, but there was no line connected to it because I was probably on the last cell. You know when they said low cell? I was probably on low cell right around the car accident.
We didn't have the ability.
And the accident took place August 4th, but by the time I met you, you had turned 16 on August 18th.
You
right.
stuck on that. She
Man, hey, it's important to know.
So we didn't have the ability. Well, we never exchanged phone numbers because I knew he was immobile. He couldn't go anywhere. He was in a cast up to his hip because it was broken and fractured. So he was in a cast up to his hip. He couldn't go anywhere. So we never exchanged phone numbers. We would just always go to the base to go and see them. It was no big deal. We would go every day, every other day to go see them. So we never exchanged phone numbers. Well, lo and behold, one day there was a guy on the base who tried to talk to me. You said that.
Which is short for Joker.
That with an attitude.
Well,
it was one of Barry's mates who actually tried to talk to me, and I wouldn't talk to him because I was trying to tell him that I was already seeing somebody. And so he got mad because I wouldn't talk to him, and so he called the military police and told the military, and told them that we were on the base and we didn't have authorization to be there, so they escorted us off the base. And that was the last time that I had seen him. We had no communication. So we went 21 years, 21 full years, no talking, no writing. We had no phone numbers, no way to contact each other, no communication, no letters in the mail, no anything, zero communication. Because remember, we had no phone numbers. We had nothing. 21 years.
Well, you had a phone number.
You didn't know it. I remember it, 904-241-7772. I remember that way back from 1991. We had that phone number for years and years. But we lost communication. Lo and behold, move forward, 21 years later, Facebook is out.
Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg.
For that, for that. Yes. Facebook is out. And it's funny because at the time I was a program director for Virginia College in Columbus, Georgia. And I remember having a conversation with my students at the time, and I was saying that I had deactivated my Facebook account. And so they were like, well, Miss Woods, what if somebody is trying to reach you? What if somebody is trying to find you or whatever? And I was like, ain't nobody trying to find me. You know, I've been on Facebook all these years. If somebody was trying to find me, they'd find me by now. So he had actually sent me a Facebook message like 2 months before, or 2 or 3 months before, in February. We were in May. So he had sent this message, but I never saw the message. I shut down my Facebook, but after the conversation with my students, I was like, well, I'll reactivate it for a little bit or whatever. When I reactivated my page, his message popped up. So let me say this. I never, ever, 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 ever checked my phone at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning.
The way it happened was my sister had passed away that year on Mother's Day. And so even though I was living in Louisville, Kentucky, my home is Chicago, Illinois, Chi-Town. And so on the way back to Louisville from Chicago, 4 o'clock in the morning, I got a response on my messenger. I used to have the worst driving habits. Then I used to drive with my knee, even if I had a 5-speed, have a burger in one hand and the pop in the other. And it's almost like I only used the steering wheel when it was time to turn. So, and I was texting and driving at the time. And so when it went off...
Don't do that, boys and girls.
Yeah, don't do that. And so I when it went off and I was looking, I went, oh man! And The kids were like, "Daddy, you okay? You okay?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right." And what it was, I sent the message that said, "Hey, do you live in Jacksonville in the Mayport area? I'm pretty sure," which I did know though. I said, "I'm pretty sure we were an item. I had a car accident. I broke my leg. I had cast on my leg. I broke my hip, and we were an item until y'all were escorted off the base." And am I missing something?
No.
Oh, you got to look like they don't believe that.
No.
No, but
No.
and so that's pretty much where it started. And that was May 21st, 2012 at 4:00 in the morning.
But I never checked my phone. I got up and I went to the bathroom, and when I came back from the bathroom, my phone was laying in the bed next to me, and it was like, check your phone, check your phone, check your phone, check your phone. And I was like, I'm going to bed. I got to go to work in the morning. I'm not going to look at this phone. So I just closed my eyes to go back to sleep. It would not leave me alone. Like, check your phone, check your phone, check your phone. So it was, and so I picked up my phone, and there is this message sitting there from Messenger. And I'm looking at it, and at first I brushed it off because it said, "Did you live in Jacksonville?" And I was like, well, it's on Facebook that I live in Jacksonville, Florida. There's some random message. But then it was like, read it further, and it said, "You lived in the Mayport area, and if I'm not mistaken, we dated, and I had a cast on my leg." That let me know right there, there's only one person ever in my entire life that I had ever been with that had a cast on their leg. And he was specific to the area of Jacksonville that I lived in. And I'm like, there is no way. Back then, he went by the name Eminem from McKinnon. So they called him Eminem in the military. And I'm like, there is no way, like, this is Eminem. Like, there is no way.
Yeah, and this was before Marshall Mathers came up with the Eminem.
Yeah, way before that. So I was like, there is no way. And I'm like, oh my God. So I hop out the bed. Because remember, this is 21 years later. I'm 36, 37 at this point. I've gone from 16 to almost 40. Yeah. I'm like, there is no way this dude even remember me or anything about me. And he's reaching out to me or whatever. So he's like, call me. And at first I'm like, I ain't calling you. So I send him back a message and I said, are you married? Because be real, I don't want nobody else's husband. I got my own. But even back then, I didn't want nobody else's husband. That ain't what this is. So I was like, are you married? And he said, no, I'm not married. And so I was like, okay.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm not your boss.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. We stupid. But anyway, I was like, okay. I don't want nobody else's husband. So I'm like, okay. So he wasn't married, so he called me. And we ended up talking, and I'm like, I can't believe that 21 years later, this dude remembers me, remembers my name. And he said he remembered my name and he remembered my eyes. Oh, he remembered that. And then when he saw my Facebook profile picture, he knew it was me. So 21 years after our last interaction in 1991.
Our last transaction.
Yeah, we reconnected in May of 2012, and here we are.
The thing about that, you know how quickly your cell phone will drop a call, and it takes 10 minutes to try to even get back in touch with that person. From me calling at 4:00 in response to her message. Oh, and I remember too, the reason why she told me to call, she wasn't being fast. She was saying, well, since you're on the road, because we text pretty quickly. Well, I was texting and driving. Don't do that. And so you were saying to call so I would stay awake, because that is technically how we wound up meeting in the first place, because I fell asleep at the wheel in Jacksonville on the way to the Apple. So on Emerson. on Emerson, and we hit that the pole, and I was medevaced to Memorial Hospital. But so I called at 4:00, and we stayed on the phone from 4:00 to 1 p.m., 4 a.m. to 1 p.m. without the call ever dropping. Of all of I-65, nothing dropped the call. I had a rental car at the time because the car that I did have wouldn't have made it across the bridge to Indiana further than I did because I went to the rental place. So drove to the rental car, to home, took the kids in the house because I wasn't going to let them go to school with no rest. Went to the rental car place, drove back home, all of that still on the phone until 1 o'clock when she had her meeting. But the thing is, even though I was living in Louisville and she was in Alabama, I wound up moving December 12, 2012, to Alabama. But the thing is, from that day of May 21st, 2012, we never went over 24 hours without communicating, without talking to each other at all. So, and we're still like that now. We talk about two things, everything and nothing.
That'd be stupid.
But, and there are a lot of people that, since they're just now meeting us, they believe that we just now got together. Like, no, that's not the case at all. But there was something that she did say that was monumental. She said 5 words. I ain't no booty call. Or 4 since that's a compound word. I ain't no booty call.
I did.
Not even a booty text, the booty message. And
No.
You know what? I said, cool. Me neither.
You have to look. Going from walking a Christian walk is not always an easy walk, but you do have to have some sort of boundaries. And I had boundaries. I had gotten out of a terrible marriage. I stayed by myself for almost 4 years before he and I reconnected. I didn't want to date anybody. I was tired of the games. I was tired of the lies. I was tired of feeling like I wasn't good enough. Nothing I did was good enough. I was tired of feeling like I was worthless. I was nothing. I didn't matter. Nobody saw me. I was invisible. That's where I was. And so I was like, I'm not getting from one relationship back into another one just to be treated the same way. And sometimes you can attract what you have not healed from. If you have not healed from certain things, you can attract that right back into your life. If you look at the Israelites, I posted about this the other day, when they were led by Moses and Moses was up on the mountain and he was gone for 40 days. They didn't know what to do with themselves. They panicked and all of that. And oh my gosh, let's build a golden calf so that they can go back to worshiping this fake God that God was leading them away from. Yes. Because sometimes your mindset is so damaged and so out of alignment with where you need to be spiritually. You go back to the very thing that was hurting you. And I didn't want to do that. So I took the time that I needed to really find myself. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know where I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. I didn't have any identity or direction because for the last 10, 12, 13 years, I had been wrapped up in somebody else who was dogging me, and so.
You were a caramel quesadilla.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was. So I had to get to a point to finding me. What did I like? What was it about me? And so that's how I got into hair. And that's how I got into my wigs and my color and my boots and, finding out things that made me happy. So I tell everybody now, when I dress for me. I don't dress to impress anybody else. I dress to impress me. I don't even really dress to impress my husband. I don't.
You never do. No.
And I'm being honest about that. I love my husband and his opinion matters, but I dress to impress me. How do I feel? Am I happy? Do I feel good? You know, how does this make me feel? Because for so long I wasn't even on a burner. It wasn't the back burner. I wasn't even on a burner. I had no self-identity. You know, I didn't even feel like I was worth dressing up. I let myself go. I wore sweatpants and t-shirts all the time or whatever. And not knocking anybody who likes sweatpants and t-shirts, but I'm saying I got to a point, it took me years to get to a point to say, hey, I like colored hair. Hey, I like how I look when I dress girly. I love being a woman. I love being a girl. And these last 13 years of being with my husband have just allowed me, I'll be 50 this year, have allowed me to be in a soft girl era where I can be a girl. I can be feminine. I don't have to be the husband and the wife and the housekeeper and the doctor and the lawyer. I don't have to do everything by myself. And my husband gave me that. Right. So I'm just now getting to a point to where I can just be a girl. I can be a woman. I can put on makeup and not go anywhere. I can put on cute clothes and dress up and my shiny shoes and, you know, my necklaces or whatever. I can't wear nails because of my job, you know, and I do direct patient care. So I can't do that. But I can do everything else that makes me feel good about being me. And luckily, I'm blessed with a husband who nourishes that. And he's like, as long as you feel good, I'm good. As long as you like it, I'm good. As long as you're happy, I'm good. Because I didn't have that before. And it takes a strong man to be confident in who he is, to be able to step aside and say, do you, boo? If you good, I'm good. I'm not intimidated. I'm not, you know, at a place to where I feel uncomfortable or insecure, you know, because you look good, you know, and when you look good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you look good.
That's right. And a lot of that comes from, it's basically reciprocated because I give her that because she automatically gave me that. I come from a terrible failed marriage as well. Even I didn't even want to be here anymore. You told you nothing as a husband, nothing as a father, nothing as a person. And I had my car on the boat ramp, and I had a Honda Civic 5-speed, and I'm like, all right, I'll show you. That sounds retarded. Believe it or not, there's a level of strength even in your weakness to no longer want to be here because of not understanding who you are, and what even God has for you. I was on the boat ramp. I took the parking brake off. The car just sat there. Didn't move. And when I tell you, I was talking to God about it, like, okay, what's going on? You know, I don't want to be in this place anymore. And when I felt comfortable, like he was consoling me, you know, there was a calm, and I actually started to apologize. I said, I'm sorry because this is a life you gave me, and I'm about to throw it away, pretty much because I didn't know what to do with it. So that I tried to. The car didn't move when I put it in neutral, but when I tried to go back up that ramp, I had a heck of a time, and I couldn't. I'm like, oh my Lord, hey, that was a few minutes ago now, because the car wouldn't move, and when I tried to go, it slid further. I'm like, no. So, but the bottom line is, when we wound up reconnected, she let me know it's okay to cry. It's okay to understand that she does not know exactly how I'm feeling. The problem is, as men, we never have anyone to talk to. Our outlets, believe it or not, our outlets about the house is holding up the house, and that's the walls. So we don't always handle things correctly. I've heard before, women are emotional, men are. No, we are emotional, and we become physical because we don't know how to handle that emotion. So punching holes in the walls and punching people, punching each other, you know, stuff like that. and not having that outlet of things that you've dealt with, going through, my babe became my outlet of me being not punching you. You didn't outlet on me like that. No. She said to me, because I was mentioning things about that I've gone through in the previous marriage, and she originally was thinking, you're not over her. No, it's not about not being over her. I was completely over and done with her. The thing was, some of that pain was still resonated. And she said, you've never had an outlet. And the problem is, it's just like a radiator. If there's too much pressure, it can burst. So
I saw the hostility.
And so being able to talk to her about it, we were actually able to share, the things that we've gone through. And we've shed tears for each other because we were not there when each other went through what we went through. She talks about Devontae, her son that passed, and, I cried. I never met him, the things that, the losses that we've had, the battles we've had to deal with. And my divorce was final. I want to say it was December 10th, 2010. I want to say that. I want to say it was December 10th, 2000. But everything happened in December. We celebrate Jesus' birthday. We celebrate me leaving Louisville. I mean, everything. But I remember, and I hadn't dealt with anyone it had been over a year. So it's almost like we both had a purging session. Not purge. As I said that, I went, I don't think that's the right word.
I didn't purge nobody.
Live got us locked up. Not purging session. The ability to say what was on each other's mind and just like clear the air with things. So that, yeah.
We cleared.
That's why I stopped and I said purge. No. But the thing is, and that's why we cut up the way we do now, because we were both in failed marriages that...
You have to be able to laugh together, first of all. If you can't laugh together, that's going to be one dry, boring marriage relationship. You got somebody you can't laugh with.
For both of our marriages, it was almost like nothing to laugh at.
Other than you, because you was the joke.
Yeah. Oh, the joke.
I was the joke because everybody else knew about all of the affairs and babies outside of the marriage and relationships and
coming to the house, men and women. So
coming to the house smiling in my face and knowing y'all getting ready to go out and sleep with other chicks and stuff like that. So I was the joke, and you feel like a fool. You feel betrayed. This is the person who's supposed to have your back and everything and, love you and be committed to you. And it's me and you against the world, and, my ride or die, and we're building together. We trying to have a life, and this is the person who do you more dirty than the people in the street that call themselves your enemies. I'm sleeping with the enemy. That's how I felt, and...
Ops now. That's today's...
Oh, yeah, the ops now. You sleeping with the ops. And I'm let me say this. Marriages can come back from infidelity. Marriages can come back from infidelity. It takes two people who are willing. People make mistakes.
And I know you led with that, but
well, not us, because we haven't had it, but I'm just saying.
You talking about one thing to say,
well,
I'm going to just tell you.
I don't want that marriage back from infidelity. No, they can have it. No, I'm just saying. But what I'm saying is, if anybody out there is watching and has dealt with infidelity in your marriage and you're wondering, can you rebuild in your marriage? Yes, you can. You definitely can. It takes two people who are willing, and it just takes effort and a day at a time. Am I saying it's easy? No, it's not. But when you commit and you go all in to make sure that the person that you told, you apologize to. And I'm sorry for hurting you. And I'm sorry for making you feel this way. And I'm sorry for putting our family in this position. You stand by that. And then you do everything that you possibly can to make it better. It takes a day at a time. And then the person on the other end has to be willing to say, you know what, you did mess up and it did hurt me, but I'm here and I'm willing to forgive you. And if you're willing to forgive, then truly forgive. It can't be brought up every time there's an argument or there's a disagreement or anything like that, because you will never heal.
But there also has to be no expiration date on apologizing.
That's right.
The thing about pain is very rude. If you notice, anytime you've ever been in pain, it didn't get your approval first. No matter what pain it is, what pain you have to deal with or encounter. So even the pain of your loved one stepping out on you, or things of that nature, and it bothers you again, well, it's gonna bother you. And if you were the one that stepped out on someone and they bring it to your attention, it's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that we are even here because of my actions or things of that nature. So there's no expiration date on it, because it can come and you may have to re-forgive. The thing about, we were talking about forgiveness before. The thing about forgiveness is just like saved. Once saved, always saved. No, it's not that. We have to die to thyself daily. You know, we have to repent daily. We have to forgive daily, even if it's the same thing over and over.
It's like when they asked Jesus, how many times must I forgive? And he said 70 times 7. You know, that's a lot of forgiveness. But when you make that commitment and that dedication that we're going to save our marriage, we're going to rebuild our marriage, we're going to work this out, we are going to see this thing through. Sometimes that 70 times 7 happens all in a day. You know, I've got to forgive you 10 times today because I keep thinking about it, you know, and hurt is hurt and pain is pain, and you can't tell someone how to respond to their pain. Exactly. People feel what they feel, but we have to be patient and understanding with each other. One, to know that I hurt you, and then I'm sorry, and you're dealing with the pain that I caused you. And the other, to know that this person knows that they hurt me, but they're here and we're trying to make it better. We're trying to get through this. And we're actually a team. We're not each other's enemy. You are not each other's enemy. You're not. The enemy wants you to think that you're each other's enemy, but you're not. God put you two together for a reason. God put you two together because there's a purpose and a plan for the both of you in that marriage, to bring other marriages to the kingdom, for other people to see what you made it through, to see how you rebuild, to see how you stood through the test of time, for your children to see that yes, they went through some times, they went through some rocky stuff. Every day wasn't perfect, but they're still here and they're still standing. So God put you two together so that you can tear down those walls, so that you can break generational curses, so that your children can see that there is a such thing as a loving mother, a forgiving mother, and a loving and understanding father who loved my mother. They both made some mistakes, but they made it. Right. You know, God put you together for a reason.
That's right.
And Satan, the enemy comes so that he can attack that union. He wants you to give up. He wants you to throw in the towel. He wants you to say, I'm done. He wants you to say, I've had enough. And let me say this. If you're in an abusive marriage where you are physically being abused and beaten, and I am not telling you to stay. I am not telling you to stay. Because God loves marriage, but he does not want you to stay in a position where you are physically in danger, where your life could be taken from you at any moment, at any given time. Your children's lives. Look at the state of our world today. Women are dying in troves. Women are dying at the hands of the person who said that they love them. So if you are being abused, your life is in danger. Your children are in danger. I am not telling you to stay. I am not.
It's a shame that some of them feel they have nowhere to go because they don't have other family or other places that they could seek shelter and things of that nature. So that's a hard thing to deal with too.
It's very hard.
Man.
Very hard. I was in an abusive relationship. My last marriage was very abusive. I hid it. People didn't know it. People didn't know what I was going home to because I hid it. Everything was always sunshine, and it's because you always try to make them look good, so people didn't understand. People didn't know until I got to the point to where I was like, look, enough is enough. I'm telling everything. Ain't no what's happened in Vegas, stay in Vegas over here. And we wasn't in Vegas. But black people, we grow up with what happened in this house, stay in this house. And you don't tell nobody in it. And we grow up with this emotional trauma that we never get healed from because we have to hold all this stuff in. Even now, it's like as adults, you don't talk about if somebody hurt you, and don't mention if somebody did something to you. You're supposed to take it. You're supposed to hold on to it. You're not supposed to say anything. You're supposed to cover up what they did. No, we're not doing that. If you hurt me, you hurt me. If I'm hurt, I'm hurt. And you need to be big enough to apologize and say, you know what? I didn't do that and I'm sorry. But we don't want to do that. We want to cover up. We want to cover up things and sweep things under the rug and come up with excuses and make excuses and, justifications for everything. And you shouldn't. I'm mad at you because you mad at me because I hurt you. No, we're not doing that. We have a right to say that I'm
mad
hurt.
at you because I stomped on your foot and you yelled ouch incorrectly.
I responded to what you did to me. And because I'm upset with what you did to me, I'm wrong. No, we're not doing that. You hurt me. You are out of line. You are out of pocket. It was wrong, and I don't have to take it.
Right.
Period. And neither do you. Neither do you. But if you are in an abusive relationship, please find help. Please find help. Your life is so much more than what you're going through. It is so much more. I used to ride in the car and pray to God and ask God, whatever this is in me that is allowing me to take this behavior and stay, I need you to pluck it out. And I need you to pluck it out now. I need whatever this is in me that has my self-esteem so low that I feel like I need to stay in this relationship with someone who is hurting me constantly. I need you to take this from me. And little bit by little bit, it started happening.
Stronger and stronger.
Stronger. I was stronger and stronger every day.
That's right.
I was getting stronger and stronger. And I kept praying and praying. And I was getting more strength and more strength. And God gave it to me. And he gave me the means to be able to lead, to be able to move. It didn't happen all overnight. It wasn't a woke up with an epiphany, and just how it happens in the movies, and then you just pack all your bags and you go on the next day. It didn't work like that.
Because there was on a time limit with the budget of the actors.
Oh.
It
didn't work like that for me. It took a little bit. But God gave it to me. God said he would never leave you nor forsake you. He said he would be with you wherever you go. My mom's favorite scripture is Joshua 1:1-9. I love that. Be courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I take that with me everywhere. My favorite scripture is Romans 8:28. So it's all working for your good. Even when you don't see it, when you don't feel it, when you don't believe it, it's all working for your good, and you are never alone. God is right there with you through the entire thing, through the entire process. And he's holding your hand and he's taking you through this. And
with what you're saying, my favorite scripture is Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
All things work together. Everything worked together for the good of those. Satan means it for your bad, but God will take what Satan meant for your bad and turn it around for your good. But I wanted to remind you of Ephesians 6, that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. You are not fighting your spouse. You are not fighting your husband. You are not fighting your wife. You are fighting the demon that was sent to destroy what God put together. And you have to remember that it's me and you against the world. It's me and you against every demon, against every imp. It's me and you against everything that was sent to destroy us. And sometimes what was sent to destroy you is family. Sometimes your own family will come against you to tear apart the very thing that God put together. The very thing. God said, for this reason, a man shall leave his mother and his father, and he will cleave unto his wife. Mama don't come first. Daddy don't come first. Now, that does not mean you disrespect your mother or disrespect your father. No. But that does mean that once you take on a wife and a husband, they become first. Two become one. So it is no longer a husband and a wife, but you are one flesh. Why do you think Jesus refers, or the Bible refers to Jesus as the groom, as the bridegroom, and the church as the bride? Mm-hmm. That's how much he loves the church. We are compared, husband and wife are compared to Jesus being the bridegroom and the church being the wife, being the bride of Christ. That's how much he loves marriage. He said, what he put together, let no man put asunder. Let nobody tear it apart. People are sent to destroy what God put together. And this is the thing in the Black house. We love our mamas so much. We love our mamas. But we love our mamas so much that we have put our mamas on a pedestal to believe that mamas come before wives and husbands. And they do not. They do not. Now, you love your mama, and you cherish your mama. You respect your mama. You take care of mama. But mama does not get to disrespect wife. Mama does not get to disrespect husband. And it's okay. It's not. You have to find a way to respectfully tell your mama, I hear you and I hear what you're saying and I understand. But you cannot disrespect my wife and you can't disrespect my husband. That is my spouse. It's us together as one.
But God ordained.
That God ordained. Yeah. That God ordained. This is a commandment from God. This came from him. He said it. This is not your word. This ain't Minister McKinnon's word. This ain't Brother Will's word. This is God's word. God said that he is the Godhead. Then it's the husband. And then it's the wife. And then it's everybody else. Children and everybody else. God is the Godhead. God leads the husband. Husband leads the wife. Everybody else. Two are one. One. That was still two, but one.
That was 9. What kind of marriage you talking? That's polygamy. Ain't that? That's polygram.
But two become one. You have to stick together no matter how hard the situation is, no matter how difficult it is to talk about it. You have to stick together. And we do something, and I'm going to talk about this and then we can get off. We do something called close the door.
Not Teddy Pendergrass close the door.
Well, Teddy P ain't bad, close the door.
Teddy P...
He was yelling at you.
Close the door. Well, he was yelling, turn them off. Turn off the lights, yeah.
How am I getting in the mood and you yelling at me like that?
First of all, kind of aggressive. What's all the hostility, man?
That ain't sexy. What you hollering at me for? You
yell at me again. Love the way you disrespect me.
You yelling at folks. What's wrong? Okay. Maybe we're going to reconvene.
I'm going to let you have a few moments to yourself.
That's too much aggression.
But don't you do it, baby! Turn them off!
And turn
you know what? He was a manager at an electric company. That's what that was.
So, anyway.
Turn off
I don't even know what I was going to say. Oh,
close the door.
So close the door.
Reconvene.
We're going to reconvene in another. going to try this tomorrow. I'm put my clothes back on. Okay, close the door. So we do something called close the door. Close the door means anytime you have a disagreement with your spouse, okay, your partner, your mate, whatever. The trick of the enemy is to come in and destroy what you've built, to destroy your union, okay? That's his whole goal, is to tear you apart. You have to be smart enough and have enough discernment to see it. Yes, you're going to have disagreements. Yes, things are not going to be perfect every single day and rosy, but you have to be able to come together and recognize the problem. Remember, you're fighting the problem, not each other. Okay, you're fighting the problem, not each other. So what we do is close the door. Let's say that there's a situation that happens. One of us doesn't like it. We're upset about it or whatever. If you can talk about it amicably, talk about it. Not voices yelling and screaming and hollering and all of that. Because when you do that, nobody is listening to each other. You're listening to respond and not to understand. So you're not going to get anywhere. It's just a yelling match. And then you're going to get to the point to where you're just saying stuff to hurt each other because I'm mad. Okay? And then you can't take it back, because once you've spoken it, it's out there. You can't take it back. It hurt. Okay? So what we do is close the door. If we find that the situation, the problem has gotten to a point to where we cannot talk about this respectfully and amicably in a normal tone, close the door. We do not let Satan in here. That means we take a break. We walk away from it. You get your thoughts together. I get my thoughts together. Go to your room, I go to my room. Turn on a movie, go get a burger, something. But we are going to leave this alone. And we're not going to walk around with an attitude with each other. We're not going to walk around sucking teeth and slamming doors and all of that. We are going to move on. When we get to a point to where we can come back and we can be calm and we can discuss it, we will discuss it then. Even if it's to a point to where we disagree. Remember, you are two different people, two different backgrounds, two different personalities, two different understandings, two different sets of experiences, two different sets of relationships, two different pasts, two different upbringings. Everything about you two are different. It's okay to have a different understanding, but you come together and you talk about it. This is where my mind was. This is what I saw. This is how I felt when you did whatever. And it's up to you to say, first of all, I'm sorry, because that wasn't my intention. I wasn't trying to disrespect you. I wasn't trying to make you feel like this or that or whatever. This is my understanding. This is where I was. This is what I was thinking. And you two can come together and say, oh, yes, it was a mistake, but it wasn't a malicious mistake. And my husband says that to me. He said that to me a while ago when we first started doing Close the Door. I did something to make him upset that I didn't even realize.
You didn't make me upset. I chose to be upset.
Well, he chose to be upset. But during the time, and I truly can't remember what it was, but I remember him saying the words to me. I remember him saying the words to me is, he said, I know you. He said, and I know that it wasn't malicious. What was the intent behind what happened? What was the intent behind the problem? Did you set out to hurt me? Because that's a whole different set of problems and issues and circumstances that need to be worked through. Why would you need to set out to hurt your spouse or your partner or whatever? That's being malicious. That's right. But I didn't set out to hurt him. It just so happened that what I did hurt him. Yeah. So I can't remember what it was either, but thank the Lord, we can't remember. Yeah.
That's still festering over 20 years later.
20 years later.
What it was. I know exactly what it was.
But you want to close the door. You want to close the door and not allow Satan to have a door, a window, a crack, nothing to be able to come in
to your address.
To come in and destroy you. Again, you're fighting the problem, not each other. the problem, not each other. You have to have a mindset of maturity to say, you know what? Our marriage, our family, our household comes first above everybody else.
One thing about having to close the door, if you think about it, when a door is open, it allows a draft. It creates a draft. That's why back in the day, being from Chicago, and when we didn't have air in our house, we had the front door and the back door open, and that air would rush through. So if that door is open, that wind comes through and tears up everything. So when you close that door, you're pretty much isolating that incident, well, isolating everything to where you are at that moment. There's actually been times we ain't even reconvened. Didn't say anything.
It's like it ain't even that big of a deal.
Actually, then forgot about it. Still made
still
made me a sandwich.
It ain't even that big of a deal. Move on.
You still made me a sandwich.
I do make good sandwiches.
Good sandwiches. And the thing is, technically, you have to have a goal in mind. I remember hearing a long time ago, and the question was, do you want to be right or do you want to be married? That's a powerful question, because the thing about being right is your goal is, I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you a lesson and all of that. And it's like, is it worth possibly losing your spouse because of what you're trying to be right about, or staying married by being able to be empathetic, understanding, okay, misunderstood. It's okay. It's okay to misunderstand. I remember, so one time, I was saying something and I said, yeah, like knocking off your ex. And babe was like, well, if you feel that way, then go on. I'm like, why you sound so dismissive? What are you talking about? I said, oh, so you mentioned, you talking about knocking off your ex. And I went, yeah, it was a Facebook post, I remember. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, what's wrong with that? I said, well, I know it's not legal and stuff. She was like, what do you mean not legal? I said, wait a minute. What do you think I'm talking about? Getting with your ex. I said, ew, getting with no, man. Knocking off, like, in Facebook terms, unalive. But I'm just
where I'm from, everybody know knocking off means
I was like,
you in there.
I said, no.
You in the gut.
I'm thinking knocking the boots is
and
what that means.
What you not finna do is disrespect me and make no post about knocking off your ex, sleeping with her, and we together. I was like I don't exist. So I tell you what, deuces.
So I told her,
you can go on about your business.
I said, apologize for putting me back in that place. Ew. But no, but that just goes to show that you can have a different level of understanding. And technically neither one of us was wrong.
It was my understanding, and he had his understanding, even though it was the exact same words. We had two different backgrounds, experiences, and upbringings. So we're saying all of that to say that you have to keep that in mind, that it's okay if you disagree. Disagree respectfully. And don't try to be malicious.
And respectfully disagree.
And don't try to hurt each other with your words. You want to build with your words.
Yes.
We have come what we have due to what God has.
We've come what we have due to.
We have done what we were called here to do tonight.
We are.
Like devotion back in the day. We have done what we have been asked to do. We have done.
Our devotion was long.
Ours too, but sometimes I miss devotion.
Yeah.
But we have done what we were called here to do tonight. Yes. Kind of went, just talking and stuff like that. But we
went every which way.
Coming every week, once a week. We will be coming every week to have these discussions with you guys. And we will be responding to your comments and everything. Sometimes it's easier to stay on track with what you were talking about so you don't lose your train of thought. But we will be responding to your comments and everything. And like I said, if you have a comment or a question or whatever that you want us to talk about, send us a DM so we can talk about it. But look, we don't want to talk about no weak stuff. We want to talk about the good stuff. We want to get down into the nitty gritty, you know, the juicy stuff, you know, and let's talk about it and everything.
So do you use a syringe when you like?
I ain't talking about no freaky, we ain't using syringes and boat paddles. You know, that's the...
Boat paddle, babe. No, what's that big bowl? That bowl that you use on Thanksgiving to
turkey baster.
Turkey baster.
No, we're not doing that.
Get you a turkey baster.
Okay. We love y'all.
Don't forget the fur gloves.
Thank you. Fur gloves.
Fur gloves.
That sounds hot.
It is hot.
That's uncomfortable.
And you just
Sweating and itching.
just the itching and the scratching. Like my great grandmama. When breaking came out, boy, I just thought I had it. I was doing it. My grandmama, she went, well, what's wrong with you? I said, no, grandma had it. I was dancing. She said, is you itching? I said, no. She went, oh. So I think she went into prayer right there.
I was feeling it too. But we will thank you guys so much for joining us. This is the first one. Like I said, if you find it not robbery, please tag and share. And we will be back on here once a week.
When we get back.
Once a week. With the videos.
I'm going to see you when I see you.
I'm going to see you when I see you.
And it's from the McKinnon's.
We love y'all. Thank you for joining us.
Love you, mean it.
Love you, mean it. Okay.
I don't have no remote control, so I got to